To add an edge flange, we can choose our edge flange feature, and that'll bring us into a selection box to choose out an edge. And to start, I'm going to go ahead and just select out this back edge. Now by default, this is set to 90 degrees. And if I move my mouse past the edge on either side, it'll flip the edge flange. This will also bring in the default radius from the sheet metal parameters. We can come in and change the angle if we want, as well as updating the length or choosing different end conditions. We can do an up to vertex or up to edge. And we can also select out multiple edges. Just like other sheet metal features, we can choose the position of this feature. If we want the material to be on the inside, outside, we can put the bend on the outside, or we can bend this from a virtual sharp. We can also change the K factor as well as the relief type. The edge flange that we create is based on a sketch that's created once we select out an edge. And it's just going to create a box along that edge up to whatever length we want. If we modify this and give this a dimension, for example, and go back into the feature, it's going to go ahead and remove out the option to change that dimension. We can also drag the edges if I want to extend past or bring this in. I can do that as well. And it looks like in this case I can't extend that past. Now if I come back into the edge flange and go back into the edit the flange profile, I'm not actually limited to just this box. I can go ahead and delete out some of the relations and modify this. I can also add in a shape, and this will tell you whether or not you can use the sketch or not. So you can modify this and trim away the extra lines until this says the sketch is valid. So if I go to finish, you can see that's a relatively complex shape, but it can be easily created using an edge flange. So I'll go ahead and delete out this edge flange, and we'll create 3 edge flanges on the top. Now if we choose edge flanges that overlap based on the length that we choose, SOLIDWORKS will automatically go in and miter these edges. And we can also choose out a different gap. We can also change out this default radius, make it pretty much as large as we like. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to bend outside. And the radius can be as large as you like, as long as this flange length is larger than that radius, or sufficiently larger than that radius. You can see that if I make that length too long, though, that feature will fail. So I'll go ahead and click OK. And now we have those 3 edge flanges. So you can see you have pretty large set of options when working with the edge flanges. You can change the radius as well as the profiles and create these miters. So you can create almost any geometry you can think of using the edge flange. There are a few things that you won't be able to do with the edge flange that you can with the miter flange, and that'll be covered in the miter flange video. So as you work with edge flanges and really any of these features, you want to check your flat pattern as you work or as you add features. As with the edge flange, you can add out quite a few of these flanges and create a flat pattern that may not actually work, but everything will look fine within the part. And in this case, these are too close together, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly just change the gap. That should fix that problem. And you'll see once I flatten this out, okay, I don't have any overlap in this case. I'm going to go ahead and just quickly change this length. We will make this 2 inches. And you'll notice now when I flatten this out, we have overlap between the features. So of course, in a real life scenario, we won't be able to create this part. So you just want to keep that in mind when working with the edge flange. While this geometry might look nice, you have to go ahead and check it against the flat pattern to make sure it completes. But aside from that, that's how you use the edge flange feature. As you can see, it can create quite complex and intricate geometry for your sheet metal parts.